looks good. It looks like we're up. I don't know if I can touch this thing. Right. Looking good. What's Shaken? Shaken is the insurance that people pay when they buy a car and they get it tested. Okay. Paper is out. Yes, 2 packs. 2 packs of paper. They're not up there yet. 1 pack is for Ayumi-san. She's printing a batch of Patreon chibis. And another batch is Dei-chan. She's working on the second cat. And it's looking good. What's shaking? Nothing that I know of. No earthquake this morning yet. So I confused. Okay, the word that you wrote, shaken, is the car. Kuruma, shaken, hoken, car insurance, whatever. Sorry about that. I mean, people do ask questions about all kinds of stuff, so it's not unusual to ask somebody what is car insurance. I guess I don't know. I did see the clip of the car, and I wrote to Karen about it. Did she not get the email? I did see the clip of the car. Karen, are you here this morning? Yes, she's here. Did she not get the email? You did it. You did. Okay, so she can tell you what's going on. Maybe put you a link. Okay, I'll pretend to do some work here at least. Let's get something done. So. Yeah, the white car with the blue stripe was a taxi. I know in the old days, taxis here were only black. In recent years, there's been more variation. I guess they liberalized the industry or something. I don't know. There's been more variation. The serious taxi companies are still black, the ones that most of the businesses will use and stuff. But there are now casually colored taxis. And I didn't know that one. After somebody sent me the clip, I Googled around a bit and found it. It's a very small local taxi company. In fact, I Googled their name and couldn't even find a website for them, but whatever. So, Inokawa Taxi, and I could not find, Googling for Inokawa Taxi told me nothing. Show and time tell. Actually, speaking of show and tell, I'll give you a tease on it. What's today? Today's Saturday. Over the early part of this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, there were a few small Yahoo auctions here. Not the dealer stuff. I haven't been to the dealer auction now in longer than I want to even talk about. But there were a few small, casual Yahoo auctions that came up this week. So I'll give you the links to them now, and you can see. And this is the stuff that's going to be in the show and tell. Some of it was, yeah, that's okay. And some of it was, oh my God, look what we got. They are going to be fun. But what I have here a copy paste. One of them is, well, I'll give you the link to that one, and you can puzzle this over by yourselves while you look at this. This one, we saw some prints last week, a couple of weeks ago, Okuyama Gihachiro, the landscapes that are sort of not quite Hasui quality landscapes or whatever. I don't want to get into that again. But that guy, Okuyama Gihachiro, the auction link I sent you just now, if I didn't screw it up, is a woodblock print by him. And we'll look at it at show and tell time, but for the moment, just you can see it there. That's a woodblock print, carved and printed. I don't know who carved it, he or his staff, whatever. But it is a woodblock print, apparently by Okuyama Gihachiro. And it went up on auction, and it was a 500 yen auction. And guess what? Nobody wanted it, so it's now part of our collection. But Okay, I think we're ready. We've got the fingers clear. We finished the feet. Now the feet are all done. Oh, no, wait. No, there's one toe left. I forgot. We got sidetracked by the time running out yesterday and didn't finish the last toe. So before I start his hand, we do have to finish the final toe. I don't know if you noticed, but it's not raining out there at last. At least in Tokyo, it's not raining. Other parts of the country, of course, are, you've seen the news. It's been a really bad monsoon this year. Really, really bad monsoon. Here in Tokyo, it's been, rainy, drizzly rainy, but there's been no downpours in this area. So we've had no danger in this part of the country of flooding yet. It's not over yet, of course, so we'll see. But for today, I think the local restaurants and bars are really happy today. For every weekend, like 10 weekends in a row now, it's been rain. And finally to wake up Saturday morning with no rain. And they want people walking around Asakusa, of course. And doesn't make any difference to us at all. Our shop, the shutter is closed today. But all the walk-around shops, the restaurants, bars, and shops, they are really happy that it's not raining today. Okay, the feet are now done officially. The feet are all done. 1, 2, 3, 4. Move on to his hand. His other hand is already done. Yeah. Okay. Actually, it's nice this morning. It's quite breezy too. Actually, not heavy wind, but it's a beautiful breeze. I've got the back window open and the front door is open, and we have a very pleasant breeze coming through here right now. Dry stuff off, Those drizzly days, the air gets so wet that a piece of paper, even the prints on the wall, they're so damp you could actually print on them. But today it's nice, pleasant breeze through here. Really, really nice. The bookkeeping work now is coming to its final stage. It's nearly done. We had a conference on Skype yesterday. Myself, Aoyama-san, Cameron from home, and we're doing the final counting and getting everything sorted out. And preliminary, it looks like we're actually in the black. It's our first half of our financial year. As a company, we've just finished 6 months as a company. And actually, it's the last half of our financial year. We started at January 1st, but we have set the company year to end at the end of June. You can choose when you want your cycle to end. So you don't have to have an actual calendar year. So this is our financial year end, and it looks like we're in the black, surprisingly. and that's mixed results. I mean, we might actually have to pay some taxes. You see it? If I can zoom in a bit more, I don't know. I think that's about max we can get here without blurring it up, I think. Don't think it'll go much farther than that. So we switched from foot puns to foot puns to fingernail puns, have we? One of something I meant to mention, or I meant to ask, I don't know if he's here today. William Francis, the British guy, young guy in Britain who's carving and printing for Jet a lot. I got an email from Twitch last night that William Francis is now streaming live. So I went over, followed the link and went through to his website, and it didn't seem to be live. But I don't know if William's here. I think he's either testing and getting ready or about to do some streaming. So if anybody's interested in that, I don't even know, I don't have a link. William, if you're here, speak up and let us know what's going on, okay? Puns. I don't even know his Twitch is William Francis, his Twitch handle, whatever. Anyway, just so you know, there's something on the horizon. It looks like William is either streaming or getting ready to start streaming. I guess I must have, when I spoke to him about it before, I must have put his Twitch handle or something into my, whatever it's called, friends or notifications or something. So it seems like he's going to be up and running, I hope. That would be fun, another wood carving stream. And he's in a different part of the world, so the time zone thing would be quite different. He's in the UK, so it might offer a good, a different chance. So. carving this point here, this thumb reminds me, there's an interesting question when you're carving stuff like this. You've got this thumb, for example. You've got the outside line here, the outside shape of the thumb, which in this case right now here I'm carving first. And then you've got the inside part of this thing. And which do you do first? Okay, it seems this morning that's the way I've carved the outside line of these fingers, then the inside. When I was doing some of those toes a few minutes ago, I think what I did was I came down, I carved the toe, the inside part first, and then trimmed the outside to match. And when I was starting this, long, years ago, I would get to these things, or if you imagine a small, for argument's sake, if you imagine a small circle or something, well, that's going to work well. Okay. If you imagine a small circle, what do you carve first? Do you carve the inside, take it away, and then carve the outside? Or do you carve the outside first and the inside? And what I used to do, because I wasn't quite so good at it, is I would first carve the inside. And because it's small and it's circular, it was kind of difficult. So maybe I would end up with a shape that wasn't quite exactly, the circle or whatever. But then you've got that shape, and now you can carve the outside to match what you've done, because you've got more freedom and more clearance and more space to move around. So your shape would be not quite the shape of the original, but the shape would at least have decent sized walls. It wouldn't have a thin spot or a thick spot on the wall, the line itself. And I remember once, I guess it must have been Ito-san, when I was visiting Ito-san one of those times, I asked him, when you got this sort of stuff, fingers and circles and whatever, what do? You carve the inside first or the outside first? And I don't actually remember the answer, but I remember the point, but he's like, why are you thinking about such a thing? Why are you asking such a thing? Was the answer. It doesn't matter. You're carving the line you see and you're carving it with shape. It doesn't matter inside or outside. I guess I've got enough confidence now I could carve the outside of this first. I've determined the shape and the location on the print. And now there's less wiggle room. I've got to carve the inside of this thing. And there's really no more freedom because the position of the line has been determined by cutting the outside shape. Our daily visit. Oh, he's parking down the street today. So I guess it's a question of confidence. I have more confidence now that I can cut this inside piece without moving this thumb around or without distorting the shape of it. Whereas before I had much confidence, I would have cut that inside place first. And then maybe if I had made that line a bit too thin, you can carve the outside in a way that maintains the shape of the line. I don't know if I'm just making noise here, whatever. If anybody thinks about these things or not, whatever. I thought about it a lot in the beginning, but clearly when I spoke to an experienced carver, he's like, why are you thinking about this? Bingo, there we have it, a thumb. This is indeed the key block. It's the key block for a print. The design is going to be something, I won't change the focus, it's whatever. Something like this. It's a snapshot, a piece taken from a larger print. In fact, maybe it's here. I don't know. I don't remember if it's ready standing by. Is this it? So there's this is the largest print. It's Kiyonaga, and we're taking just the very bottom part of this. Two boys cleaning an inkstone, and it's supposed to represent calligraphy. I looked up at the computer and I was going to say, should I turn off the outside microphone because the garbage truck is nearby? And I see that the outside microphone is already turned off. I must have left it off from yesterday. So the outside mic is off. What you're hearing, the audio now, all you're hearing is coming from the pin mic on my chest. The outside mic is turned off at the moment. So. That's a lot of garbage from one little business, eh? Crazy. To speak, hearing somebody walk by outside just now reminds me, we were talking the other day, yesterday or the previous stream, about there seems to be a boom here in Asakusa, maybe in other places, about those virtual tours. You've got a young Japanese person, usually a young boy, walking by with some kind of stick, with, clearly a camera, phone, whatever. He's got headphones in, and he's giving virtual tours, to people somewhere else in the world. And he's speaking in English, broken Japanese English, but enough, understandable. And walking around town explaining stuff. Here's, Sensoji Temple, there's Don Quixote store up down the street and stuff like this. And yesterday, again, without exaggerating, half a dozen times more, these different people walk by. So this really is something that within the last few weeks is an exploding thing. Virtual real-life tours of at least Asakusa. Maybe this is happening all over Japan. They're doing it in Meiji Shrine and in Kyoto and whatever. I don't know. All I know is the local one here. But it has suddenly exploded. So one of these companies must be really doing some campaign or whatever, or pushing this on the internet, or it's getting wide exposure. But it's for a little while now, it's been coming and growing, but now suddenly it has exploded. Get your own private walk around of Asakusa with a young Japanese person to take you around and explain what you're seeing, It can't be too expensive or there wouldn't be so much of it going on, I guess. I don't know what it costs, So. But it really, really now is a thing. It's just a matter of time. We'll get one on the stream. I think probably they don't run so much at this time of day. I don't know. Although when you think about it, it shouldn't matter. It's the time of day of the client rather than the time of day of the service here. They're Twitch streaming. The ones I'm speaking about probably aren't. I'm sure there are people who do this on Twitch, but these sound like a specific kind of customer, a client. I think the guy's walking around. He's got headphones, and he's having a conversation with a specific person while he's doing this. And we've had a couple of them in the shop, not recently, but during last year. And the guy would come in the shop from this company, ask first, can we come in? Can we come in? And when they're here, they introduce. So the one I remember was 3 people, and they were on their couch in their living room in Arizona because the guy bought something. They went and looked through a bunch of prints. He picked him up, brought him to the counter, and left. So it's not so much Twitch streaming, I think. It's a one-on-one. Somebody has booked the service. The guy here is waiting on the street corner. His master controller sends the signal through, and away they go. Yeah, it's private online tours. So. Today's wood is boxwood. It's a really beautiful, smooth. What's the usual way we talk about it? It's like carving hard butter, I think we said the other day. It's very buttery and smooth, but it's still, of course, very, very hard. It takes lots of detail. This print is full of small detail. Later on, we're going to get some hair here. And some eyes. Very hardwood. But at this level of microscopic scale, even hardwood actually feels soft when you're cutting such a small amount of it. You know? Where am I? It's really not clear, some of these things, you know. These fingers, I'm checking back to the master copy because the lines on the block here are not so clear. And I'm thinking about the face, you know, I just looked at the face right now when I see this, you know. This is still quite a bit blurry. I didn't trace and draw this copy for carving. I just took a photo reproduction of the original print here, you know. And looking at it now, some of this stuff is pretty blurry. The eyes and the nose and the mouth, you know. I'm going to have to make up a lot of this. So I'm thinking, not sure yet, I'm thinking we might switch to plan B, you know. I might get the iPad back out tomorrow and the day after. And I might trace and redraw these faces and stick it down again on this place, you know. Because there's not so much clear detail here. I think this is why I postponed the faces. I left them till last. They're really not sharp and clear, you know. Anyway, we'll deal with that when we get to it. quiet today. Nay, I'm quiet, you're quiet, I don't know, whatever. I'm a bit tired here. We were still doing bookkeeping the last few days, so it's okay, they'll get some work done. What's the conversation? Anything I need to be involved with? Nope. Shipping blocks. Carving furniture? I'm not sure what you're onto there, but whatever. I'm actually not quite sure what he's done here as far as drawing these things. Which finger is which? We've got a thumb here. There are something underneath here. And then we've got 1, 2, 3. I don't quite know how many fingers this boy has. There's a thumb here. Then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know what it is. But so anyway, what have I got now? I just did these two. Cleared out that space. It's a finger. Cleared out this space, it's a finger. But what's this? Is this supposed to be the little finger? It must be. This is the last one. This is the small finger. Bent back, and then behind it there's another one? Or this, that's the little finger at the back. This is the second one. So this is the same finger. And what's this line all about? I don't really know the geometry here. And, so I'm just going to cut what I see. Cut what he's given us. They weren't really trying to be anatomically correct. They didn't care. I'm not sure. I think that's perhaps supposed to be the same finger as this, I guess. I don't know. No, it's this. This part and this part are the same finger, I guess. That's there and it's sort of twisted back. I don't know. Whatever, I'm just going to follow the instructions here. It doesn't open, it's open here, right? Just a minute, below this black thing, this is open all the way around here. This line doesn't come. So this last finger is, there's the piece of wood, there's line number 1 coming down, line number 2, I guess this must be line number 3. And what we've got at the moment, I've got this coming down too far. I've got this coming all the way to the hand. So let's slice this back a bit. Okay, so now we've got line number 1, line number 2, and that must be line number 3. And where's the nail? There's a clear nail there, a straight line. I'm seeing this blurriness and this indecisiveness on these fingers. It's pretty clear. When I get to the face, then I really should, before I start carving those faces, I should get the master copy back out in Photoshop and trace properly the faces, you know. As I said, what we're carving here is not, I didn't trace it, I just took a photomechanical reproduction, and it's too blurry. So before I start the face, there's no question, I'm going to have to draw, do some sketching, do some tracing, you know, proper tracing. What you can get away with a toe or a finger, with a face, it'll be much more critical. The expression, the mouth, the eyes. So that might be our next stream then. What's it? Today's Saturday morning here in Tokyo, so I'll be finished this hand here. So maybe the next stream will be that. We'll be sketching, tracing this thing on the iPad perhaps. There's a vacuum cleaner lady. I thought it was earlier. Is it, this is the Saturday time, so before I look at the time, it must be 8:47? No. Yeah, is that what the time is? Is that when she comes? What does it say? 8:43. I'm 4 minutes off. Whatever. No, there's a bunch of confusions in the chat here. When we were carving last couple of weeks ago, that horse, the guys on the horses in the snow, I was reproducing, adapting a print that I had already adapted and reproduced from a Hokusai design. This is different. We've moved on to the next project. The print I'm making here is a partial reproduction of a Kiyonaga design. And it was originally a full large Oban print like this. And maybe at that time it was drawn carefully or not, and carved carefully or not. At some point in the early Taisho period, or late Meiji, it was reproduced. I've got it here. It was reproduced as a small postcard size design. Not postcard in the sense of putting in the mailbox or anything, but just as a small scale reproduction. So the large full ukiyo-e print, you know, like we see, the big full ukiyo-e prints, was reproduced by that company in a very small size like this. This is a woodblock print. It was carved and printed. So at that point, they either used a photograph and shrank it down, or somebody brushed it down, or whatever. They did this, carved it, and printed it. I've taken a photocopy of this in Photoshop, pulled out the color, stuck it down on a piece of paper. So the lines you see on the block here are a bit of a blurry reproduction of this exact print here. Here's the boy and here's his hand. And it was carved nicely, but look at the scale. I mean, we can see the scale here. That hand, again, is much smaller than my fingernail. And I've now enlarged that here. This hand is about double size that it is. So my finished print will be, it's almost going to be double the scale of this bottom piece that we're using. So we're playing with an adaptation of an original print. So Can I fool around and change the shape of a toe if it doesn't get the right shape? What's going to go on? Can I improve a bit of it? Whatever. It doesn't really matter. We're going to make a nice looking print that will look, quote, look like the original design. What I want to avoid is any, bizarre strangeness or something. So when I get to these faces, as I said, I think I'm going to retrace this more carefully. I will take the original print, scan it at 1200 DPI. Well, maybe we'll do it next week. I'll throw it into the iPad and I can extremely blow it up so I can see clearly at that point what the lines look like. We will trace them, I will trace them, then print that out on thin Gumby paper at the correct size and resolution for doing this. No, this is not Hokusai, this is Kiyonaga, who worked for the most part. He's a generation before Hokusai for the most part. The lady with the vacuum cleaner, the joke was, we should ask her to come over here because this place is getting dirty, When we were running the shop and its normal routine, every day the place got wiped down, vacuumed, the girls have a mop, they run over the floor. Part of the shop routine before opening every morning, of course, is cleaning up the shop and making sure the bathroom's clean and stuff like that. But now that I'm the only guy here and we're not open as a shop, those routine maintenance jobs are not getting done. And it's starting to show, this place is getting kind of dirty. So I think what I should do is maybe one day next week when Yamada-san is here, we should just make a few hours of it and just go through the place, clean up, If one of the shop girls came in now just as a visit to drop by and say hello, she'd be really disgusted with what I've done. Yeah, but you've let it get dirty, Men. And the shop actually, although it's closed, we're hibernating, we're just using this space as a workspace, like me sitting here. We actually did some business the other day. I forget what day it was, one day last week. I don't close the shutter bang shut. I want light and air in here. So the shutter is pretty much living about half open. I guess you can see it perhaps. The shutter is half open from where you can see. So the other day I was in here working, doing something, and there's a voice outside, can I come in? A Westerner. So I'm like, sure, whatever. We're technically closed, but yeah, you're here, so whatever, walk in, He had his mask, I had my mask, whatever. He was from Colombia, turned out. He's been working here, well, I can't tell too much, private story, whatever. Guy who's been working here in Japan and is now getting ready to leave Japan and go back somewhere else. And he was looking for a souvenir to take back, so he bought a print, and it was our only sale in the shop for the last 3 months or something, so. We actually don't have a cash drawer anymore. That stuff's all been, put aside, and for safety, we don't keep cash drawers sitting here when there's no shop. So, So I wasn't able to give change. We were fooling around with it, and he had to give exact money and whatever. Real nice guy, very pleasant young man. So there are still people in town who would like to come here and do shopping, but I can't justify hiring staff and opening the shop for the casual person from Colombia who might wander by. Very pleasant young man. It was funny too, something that happened. We chatted for a while, this and that. He showed me what he was doing, his job, and things like this. And then, as I said, he got the print. And then at the end of it, I'm standing behind the counter. We're all masked up, we're standing a couple of meters away from each other having our conversation. And it came time to close off. You have the conversation like on a telephone. It's time to say goodbye. You have these verbal cues that go on. So as he was here, he'd got his print already, had his shopping bag, whatever, and it was time to say goodbye. And really interesting thing happened. He leaned forward for a moment and reached his hand out. Because in the old world, before all this happened, it would have been fine. Hey, shake hands. Good. Nice to have met you. Thank you very much. Good. Thanks for the support. And away you go. And he leaned forward, and I started leaning forward. And both of us realized, oops, we don't do that anymore, do we? The world has changed, and people don't shake hands anymore. So we just backed off. And I was thinking, what do? Do we elbow bump or what? What's the new social pattern or whatever? And we paused, and I sort of smiled at him in the mask, and you can see his eyes. He's smiling, shrugged shoulders, and out he goes. So we're at this change between two different social patterns. He knows who I am. He's seen the videos. He came and introduced himself. Get to know who you are. Goodbye. I'll probably never see him again. And the normal thing to do would have been shake hands. Hey, thanks very much. Nice to have met you. Away we go. But that little touch, that gesture, has now been erased from our society. What's going to replace it? I don't know. We thought about it. Do we bump elbows? What do you do? I don't know. I don't know. I guess each culture is going to make up its own rules. In France, they used to do the hugging, kissing, whatever. I guess that's clearly gone. They will, scale it down to a level of shaking hands or something. Those of us who shook hands, we shake it down to a whatever. Just smile and say goodbye, Developing new customs, And X years from now, when the vaccine thing, when the vaccine thing comes through, do we simply revert to the previous way? My guess is no, because there's always going to be now this threat of there's a new virus, and we're really aware of this now. That's another funny aspect of this. We're wearing these masks because we've seen the analysis of particles coming out of our mouth are clearly carrying stuff. That's always been the case. 1 year ago, we sat together in baseball stadiums, in theaters, and restaurants, and we were sharing aerosols and particles from our mouths and stuff like that, and viruses, colds, and whatever are ubiquitous. They are everywhere. And every time we talk to somebody, if this guy had come in last year, we would have chatted. I would have taken in some of his viruses, and he would have taken in some of mine. We all just carry our general immunities. And we've been doing this, all of us, we've been doing this all the time anyway, That's funny, this is just, it brought to our attention what's really been going on all the time, what goes on in a normal society, normal people. Every time you step outside, every time you go to a concert, every time you go to a baseball game, you share a whole bunch of stuff with other people, whether you like it or not, It's just a normal way. We have, that's what our immune system is for, Step outside. Okay, I do believe the extremities are now done. That hand is finished, the ladle is finished, the feet are done. His hand, the brush, all the little tiny bits are done. Oops, no, what's this? Something's missing here. Why did I leave that? Nothing, just fabric. What print did he buy? Just one of our small prints on the Hokusai. There's a print in our catalog. It's print number 12. If you're Googling through our system, it's print number 12. It's interesting. It's really interesting. It's a print that is only ever purchased by foreigners. Never, never, never by Japanese. It's actually funny you ask that question. What did he buy? Because if I had to guess what print a young man like that might have bought, here, I can pop you the link. It's interesting, actually. Did I get it right? mokuhankan.com, HTTPS, catalog 0012. Did I screw this up? No, I think that's it. Hi, I think it's it. It's a design by Hokusai. And as I said, it's one that Japanese people they face palm when they see stuff like this. They go, oh my God. It's foreigners and Hokusai and designs like this. They face palm when they see this. But the people like me, and this young man who was here last week, this is, wow, look at this. This is cool. And the story about the print, you can see if you've bothered to click through or whatever, it's a casual view. It's just, it's a scenery view. And what it was it's a book published by Hokusai, published by somebody using designs from Hokusai. And it's called Hokusai Gafu, Hokusai's picture book. So the publisher knew Hokusai by this point has a name, because the name of the book has the guy's brand name, Hokusai's picture book. So people, oh, I know that guy, they would reach out and pick it up and look at it. Now people back in his day, 1800s, whatever, seem to have accepted this. But when you move on to the 19th and the 20th century, classical Japanese people, educated Japanese people, whatever, the story gets mixed up and scrambled, I know. Educated, cultured Japanese people through the 20th century came to see Hokusai as an aberration. That picture is an example. It's a picture of a village and a seaside and a guy walking with a fishing pole, and in the background is Mount Fuji. And the long story short, Mount Fuji doesn't fit. So instead of Hokusai shrinking and adjusting the scale so that we see the mountain and the peak and down we go, he just simply cut it off. Doesn't fit, who cares, whatever. But for somebody of his culture level in Japan, you don't do that with Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji is the abode of the gods. You're going to show a classical object, you show it in the classical form. And Hokusai clearly didn't even think about this, didn't care, didn't notice, didn't think about it. So something in our culture we would call individualism, and we praise, and we would look at him and say, wow, his pictures are different from all the other boring guys who do it exactly the same way. But the cultured Japanese person wants to see the people doing it in the classical format the same way that it's always been done. That's the difference between, like in Britain, we had the academy, whatever. You got to do it the same way as the guys before you, vary it just a little bit. The academy type viewpoint has no room for a kind of art that says we're going to blow away those rules and not do it. So it's not just, this is not something that's just happening or just happened only in Japan, but this is an example of that kind of thinking. Conservative, traditional ways of doing things, and a guy comes along who doesn't do it that way. He says, oh, screw that. And this print is a perfect example of that. Hokusai just did it without even thinking or caring or noticing that he was cutting off the top of Mount Fuji. And our culture, praises that kind of behavior, but authentic, what's the word? Classical Japanese culture doesn't praise that kind of behavior. So that print, as one example, is very, very popular in our shop, extremely popular. We sometimes you can't keep it in stock. And yet I would wager, I don't have the actual numbers, but I would wager that almost never has a Japanese person bought one of those in our shop. When will a new batch of great waves? All I can say is the great waves are rolling along. You heard a moment ago a wave sound. That's somebody else coming on the list. We are rolling through. Yamamoto-kun, he's starting a new batch, actually about this week or so. He's starting a new batch of waves just around right now. Middle of July was the schedule, July 15th or so. So he'll be starting the next batch now. It'll be finished by the end of July. So the next 50 or 60 people on the waiting list, at the top of the waiting list, will get their notification somewhere around the end of July. Then the next group will be finished in maybe beginning of September. That's a bit too far for me to predict. So. Have I run into Karhu? Karhu is not with us anymore. He's gone. He worked in a different field than I do. He was an American, came here as a missionary, learned about printmaking, took it up, and became a woodblock artist, as in doing his own carving and printing at first, doing his own designs. He wasn't doing what we do, reproductions of traditional stuff. At first he was doing all his own work, then once he got famous, of course, you hire people to do the printing and stuff like that. So anyway, what am I going to do here? I am going to, as I said, because I do not want to start one of these faces right now, I want to take the time to trace this properly. So I'm going to use the time here. I'm going to do some clearing. All this stuff has to be cleared anyway, so let's use this time by doing this, clearing out some of this space around this. Keep it on the time for me, please. It's 9:03. We have 3 objects today in the show and tell, which should start at 9:13. One of them, I posted the link to it a bit earlier. We have 2 other excuse me, 2 other interesting items to show, which should be, good fun to watch. So 10 minutes more work here now, 10 or 12 minutes more work, and then the last 15 minutes of the stream will be the show and tell antique corner. Give me a few minutes here. footsteps. Is that Ayumi-san or Rei-chan? They're both due to come today. My guess from the footsteps is that's Rei-chan, but I'm not quite sure. I could easily be wrong. Lots of conversation I'm missing here. Oh, what's this? Visitors. Soka, Soka. A lady, big floppy pants. I know it was a lady, and I don't know what she's wearing, whatever, I don't know. Rei-chan is a little bit petite, small girl. Ayumi-chan's a bit bigger, Japanese girl. Maybe a Rei-chan. Ayumi-san usually comes just before noon. Oh, it's the weekend though. Her husband's taking care of the kid. No idea. It could have been either of them. I don't know. Now we have a knot here. I have to really be careful. There's a black, you can see this black thing here. There's a knot in the boxwood and it goes right through all these lines and over here. And if I'm not careful, we will explode this thing. So cut a bit deeper to make sure that line has its own support. It's very, very hard here. There's a knot, small knots all through this area. In fact, I remember talking about it because I cut these lines through those knots. Yeah, look at that. Rock hard here. Take it easy. Little by little. Look at that, interesting. No smooth wood here, this is just cutting through knots. We don't care about being pretty here, we just got to get it out of the way. Hey, look at that, the bottom of the trench there, it's just feathered and jagged. It won't cut smoothly. Doesn't matter. Okay, I think we should be pretty much at time, right? It's good, just get the space cleared out. Okay, there's today's work part done. Let's look at some prints. Get some fun stuff today. The relief is pretty shallow. The relief is indeed very, very shallow. All we need is enough that the flat piece of paper can go on top. The piece of wood that we've bonded here is, I don't know if you can see it, zoom back in, the boxwood here on top of the plywood is, that's the thickness of the boxwood. I think we're looking at about 1.5 millimeters of wood, maybe a bit more, 1.6, 1.7 millimeters, not quite 2 millimeters of boxwood. And in the part that I've carved around here, I have not gone through the boxwood to the plywood, so I'm less than 2 millimeters in depth here. Later, when I'm clearing the outside, the wider areas, I will be going lower. I will be going into the plywood at some point here. But in the middle of these lines, where these boys are, there's no way we've gone as far down as 2 millimeters. We just don't need to. The paper is good, strong paper. It sits flat on top. We rub the back, and we don't need any more depth than this. It'll be dampened paper, yeah. In general, you look at them like seas, like oceans, whatever. The leftover lines are like land, and the space in between is like a body of water. And the wider the body of water gets, just like a real ocean, we have this image of it scooping down deeper in the middle. Whether real oceans are like that or whatever, I don't know. But on a finished block like this, we do it that way. In general, the wider the oceans are, the deeper they are in the middle. But on a block like this, I won't be going any deeper than this. Good strong paper on top. Okay. We have three things to show this morning. The first of them, when I saw it on an auction earlier this week, this was on a public Yahoo auction last week. The guy had two objects on sale on two different auctions. I bought both of them, and as you can see, they really, really did not go expensive. The first one, the one I'm looking at here, I got for 510 yen, which is whatever, $5. And the second one, which I'll show in a minute, is another 500 yen. And this is, it's a woodblock print, carved, printed, produced by Tokuyama Gihachiro. We showed prints a couple of days ago, a week ago, beautiful landscape Shinhanga landscape designs. This one, there's only one word to describe it. This is bizarre. Somebody's talking about coffee, like a ventilata. You're talking about coffee. This print is all about the 10,000 ways to pronounce the word coffee, or to write the word coffee. The word coffee doesn't exist in Japanese. They use what's called katakana. Here's a classic way. They use the phonetic syllabary, which is the syllable ko, and he. Here's the classic ko. And he's done, what is it? There's 55 versions. He's found 55 different ways to write and or pronounce the word for coffee. Actually, why he has done this, no idea. There's no specific explanation of it. It's all hand carved by him or one of his staff, and it's printed. There's no date on it. I don't know when it's done. Why on earth would he do this? Now, I can't read. He's really dug deep, and in fact, he's given his derivations. For example, this particular one over here, number 30 in his list. This is a character that's not in common use in Japanese here, and indeed, he's showing us. He said, I got this from an English-China dictionary, and it's dated 1847. And he's just dug and dug and dug through different research books and dictionaries and whatever to try and find a million different ways to write the word coffee. Talk about having too much free time. This one, number 23, this is the one we see used these days. This is on coffee shops all over town. This is the current classical way to write coffee with kanji. There's one, it's a famous chain shop. Maybe they're gone now. The Starbucks might have killed them. They were called the Kohi Kan. And they used this kanji, Kohi Kan, the same kan that we have in Mokuhan Kan. And I don't think I can find the one that we usually use nowadays. This would have been done in the immediate post-war period or around the war period. The one we use nowadays, straight hiragana, katakana, is not on his list. He seems to have missed the one we are using these days. I don't know why. Anyway, whatever. It's just a bizarre little object. It's a woodblock print made by a famous woodblock printer. And the guy is drunk on coffee, or it was his hobby or whatever. It's pretty beat up. Some previous owner has taped this on the back. This has been taped up with bits of Gampi paper on the back. It's been repaired here and there. It's really junk paper. We see this with Okoyama's prints all the time. He's working during the war and in the post-war period. And all the good Hosho paper was stolen by the military. The army took it all to make those balloons to send across to America. So there was a huge dearth, short supply of good washi paper. And this is on junk paper. You can see it's gone brown already, and it's only like 70 years old. Anyway, later on we will scan it and photograph it and put it on the website just for fun. In that corner, we have a corner of prints by... why is 52 and 53 together? Good idea. Maybe at that point he was running out of space. You tell me. I haven't, researched everything here. By the time he must have had a master list of what he was doing and laid it out. And this one has two of them are put together in one category where he got it. And the final one, well, this is a closing. So great. Here's our date. 57. Wait. Showa 17, first edition. Oh, I'm off the camera. I hadn't noticed this. I was looking for the date in all the outside part. This has no number in it, and it does say here, Showa 17 Shohan, first edition. And then it's got 3, Sanjuichi Nen, 31 years. Bangai, 57. Bangai, the number outside the normal sequence, 57. I think there's more to this. There's a bit of a semi-mystery here. It's Bangai. So if he had something that he was doing as a series, this is external to that series. Whatever. I'll scan it. We'll get it on the website. And if people are interested, they can look at this and figure out what's going on. Showa 17. That's... I was born in Showa 26, which was 1951. So Showa 17 is 9 years younger. This is 1942. This thing was John Zagata, 1942. You guys have been racing. Chocolate Eggmen are racing for this, yes. There could be lots of stuff buried in here. This could have been something for his customers, collectors, that seemed to be one thing and actually is another. I really don't know. I just present it as an object that, I'm way behind you. Okay, sorry. I just present it as an object. We'll scan it so we have a chance to look at it later on and figure out what's going on. Clearly, he was one interesting dude. He didn't want to do things the same way that other people did them. Clearly, he was an interesting dude. I said that auction man had 2 auctions up. That was 510 yen. This one cost me 500 yen. This is a little treasure. You've seen the match label prints we've done. We've got a collection of old match label prints before. You've seen them. Here, rarely is an uncut sheet. I remember when I was like 12 years old, I used to collect stamps and stuff. And I'd have stamps. And every now and then, you'd get what were they called? A pane. Like a 4-up pane or something. I can't even remember what the word we used for them. Oh my God. A block of stamps, and that were unseparated and whatever. And here we have an uncut group of match label prints. And the sheet is dated. It's Showa 8. Showa Hachinen Nigatsu, the first date of February, the 8th of Showa. Do the thing again. 8th of Showa. Showa 26 was 1951. So Showa 8 is 1828. It's 18 years before 1951. 1933, okay, you guys have got it. So it's 1931. Japan is not yet at war, not even with China. And this is an era when there's lots and lots of these match label prints that are being passed around. It's a big business, as we will see with the third item in our show and tell today. This is a publishing company. It's their name. Hamamoto is here. Hamamoto means the publisher, and it's Kogawa, small river. It'll be somebody's name. And it's in Tokyo City, Meguro-ku Shimomeguro. Meguro-ku is still there in Tokyo. And the title of this thing is, it's reading from right to left. This is still the pre-war era when you right to left. Showa Shimban. Showa is the era. Shimban, a new edition. Takarabune Zugushi. Takarabune was, as you can see, it was the treasure ship the treasure ship image, what was used frequently in New Year's cards. People would use this on their New Year's cards. It was an image of the boat full of treasure. The 7 lucky gods would be riding along on the waves and stuff. So somebody has made an image, and this would have been put, oh, look at this, look at this. The treasure they are carrying says 1933. So we were right, as if we needed that all. And what this would be a bunch of designs put in by people in one of those match label kokankai, an exchange group for this. And there is, I think, some kind of puzzle built into this. Each of the characters on a normal set that wasn't trying to be puzzled, they would be labeled Iroha ni ho he to chi ri nuru wo waka. It's this classical way of taking the Japanese vocabulary. How can I explain this? We have this English sentence, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy yellow dog, which uses all the letters of the alphabet. The Japanese have a phrase, it's an old poem from a bajillion years ago, which is one poem that uses each character in the Japanese alphabet once and only once. It became part of the classical canon. And it became also the way to label stuff. Instead of labeling item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or A, B, C, D, E, they used the old Iroha. Iroha, and it would be, the first one would just be Iroha ni. Now these guys haven't done that. When I first picked this up, and if I had seen these in cut form, and I'd seen just the no, I would think that is from an Iroha set. But it's not. This is Naga, wo, mi, this is Nami, so it could be na, this is o, oto. Nao, mi, nao. I don't know, there's a puzzle, there's a game, there's a story, there's a rebus, there's something in here. And Dave here, all these years later, has no idea at the moment where to start digging this. It's something related to New Year, it could be something related to the men in this group who commissioned this, I have no idea. There is an unsolved puzzle. There is one more clue I can offer you. The first print in the series here has the character for Naga, Nagai, long, old. And down on the bottom left corner, we have the indication of who made these things. We have, and it's really interesting because it says design, ga, and carving. It was designed and carved by the same person, and I can't read it. It's done so floridly. I can't read it. I'm going to have to ask for help on this. One of our staff members, oh, they're probably going to shake their hands and do the same thing. It's Deru De? I don't think so. Anybody here with much better kanji reading ability than me can read that carver's name, designer's name? I'm sorry, I can't get that. The printer, it says here, Suri, this is Nagao-san, and he is the great, no, let me get this right. He is the great grandfather of Nagao Yumi, who carved our Dragon's Gift print. And he is the grandfather of the lady who owns the building that I'm sitting in right now. It's quite fun. So when I saw this on the auction on Tuesday, I thought, I am going to grab this. And I was thinking, how much am I willing to bid for this? Because next time the landlady comes, I want to say, by the way, got something for you here. And this was printed by her grandfather. And you say, no way. It's not such a surprise. She knows her family history. This is one reason why she's renting this place to us. It's one reason why she's so friendly to us and why the rent is so low. She really likes what we're doing because her family history. She's not involved in printing or carving or anything, but she knows one of the branches of her family was a publisher of this kind of stuff. And she says, in her trunk rooms in her storage somewhere, she says, I have a bunch of that whole stuff there. I'm like, when am I going to get a chance to see this, So here it is. This is her grandfather. Domo, arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you. Domo, thank you. There's Saturday's show and tell. I am not going to touch it now. It's Saturday's show and tell. So this is cool. We get these stories all the time where you're looking at something, seeing him. Wait a minute, when the story comes round back to the beginning. You get that when you muck around with the same stuff all the time, of course. So you're telling me landlady bonus points. I spent 500 yen, and my landlady bonus points are going to be, it's going to save me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. It's for fun. I'm not thinking of this in a venal way. The thing is, I want to keep this. So what we should maybe do is make a color photocopy. I don't know. Well, actually, I will chat with her about this. It's quite possible, actually, that she says, oh, yeah, that's in my collection. Because she's got, like I said, she's got a trunk full of this kind of stuff. So yeah, she might have some information to bring to us on what this thing actually is. Okay, I'm talking too much and not showing enough. No, today's delivery just now was the post office man. He doesn't usually come in the morning. Sometimes when we get a delivery during the stream, that's the TACUBING guy. Today was the mailman. In fact, this other auction goods came in the mail yesterday, stuffed into the mailbox. It's open. This is not an unboxing. I had to open it to check it to make sure. And as I told you with these Yahoo auctions, if I don't click the goods received okay box, the people don't get their money these days. Everything is escrowed. So I had to open these. I can't always wait and do the unboxing. The same one, that one that's just come in right now. I can't wait to do the unboxing with you on Monday. I'm going to have to open it and take a look at it. Okay, now this is related to the last one. This was fun. It came up on my alerts from Yahoo Auctions last week, and the guy made a big mistake. He found a bunch of old match label prints. This is and a bunch of them are dated. They are from Showa 8, Showa 9, and Showa 10. The exact era of those match label prints. Now, we just saw an uncut sheet. Here's what happens next. The prints are passed out to the guys in the group, the people who put their money in to commission it. 6 months later, it comes back from the print workshop. Everybody gets a sheet. Sometimes sheets are passed to other friendly groups. Each member takes his sheet home, gets his scissors out, chops it up, and he sticks it in a little album that he's got. And this is one such album from that era. That particular set of prints is not in it. He's put in some of his New Year's cards, and we've seen this set before. This is the Chushingura set that we have now. I think this is the third time I've got this. This is a set of 24 match label prints telling the story of the 47 Ronin, and they've done it in 24 items. And this guy's been pretty good. He's cut his fairly neatly. Some of them are a little bit thin, some of them are a bit wider, and he's got some glue and pasted them into this album. So this is, and a bunch of them are dated. That Chushingura set we know what that is. That's Showa 8. It was done. Okay, now I'm not going to flip through the whole thing and show you all right now. We're already even out of time. A bunch of these match label prints. We've got some of these. You've seen them on a different stream. The famous skeleton set, the show. Now, if I was a monster here, I would just take this book, slice it up, put them in a bath, take them out, and sell these, because people are waiting. Here's the TACUBING guy. Domo, arigatou gozaimasu. Domo. Domo, thank you. He's not going to get close. The signing these days doesn't much matter. What's that? Amazon. Oh, that's from Ome. Goods from our workshop in Ome. Anyway, so you've seen these before, the skeletons. And we now have a bunch of these different sets, but I cannot destroy these books. There's no way I'm going to destroy this book. If I did this, cut this book apart, put these skeletons, put them on our website, sell for $80, they will sell in 15 minutes. But I cannot destroy these books. So this is going to stay in our collection. But I have got to show you one at the beginning. This is going to blow your socks off. I didn't have this already. I have never seen this already. It's Oda-san. Oda-san, this is his son. Oda-san was one of these main collectors, instigators of these collector groups. And we have a print made in like a Senshafta style with Oda-san's name on it. And this is Showa 8, 1933, the announcement of the iPhone. Now, this is a parody picture. Actually, this isn't that same purple. It looks like it. You're not wrong to say this, because at first glance it looks like that same purple. This isn't. This is mixing the same color, but this is mixed with normal traditional pigments. Now, this is a parody of I forgot the act number. Act 7 of the famous kabuki telling of the Chushingura story. You know the story. One of the guys, he's got a letter from his co-conspirators. He's reading the letter. It's long. It goes under the balcony. One of the other guys is looking at it from under the balcony. The lady is there. It's a parody of an episode from the 47 Ronin. And here we have, somebody's put it here, iPhone number 1. Now, that's all I can tell. It's obviously meant to be a mirror. And there's the lettering on the letter actually is real lettering. It's Oda-san. His name is in here again. And I'm sorry, this is very flowery. I am not going to even pretend. I am not even going to pretend that I can read part. I can read 1, 2 characters. That's what. It's not Showa. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not going to make it even. But anyway, so there is a message in this. And this will have been a special presentation print commissioned by one of these groups, perhaps to give to one of their members. There might have been something, an event happened. It wouldn't have been somebody passing away. It would have been somebody taking a new name, buying a new house. I have no idea. There was an important event in the lives of one of the people in one of these groups, and other group members got together, commissioned a print workshop to make a woodblock print from it. And there's something that's happened. It has meaning to that episode of the old kabuki play about the old 47 Ronin story. And this is made very, very nicely. It's beautifully made. It's on rich paper. It's carved and printed very delicately. This is a beautiful little print. I had never seen this before. On albums like this, we now have 5 or 6 albums like this, full of various match label prints. But I had never seen this one. This is a little treasure for us. And it'll be full of illusions. Even the lantern has sun and moon. There's different stuff going on. The letter clearly has text. It's Machida-san. It looks like the sponsor of this particular one was Machida-san. I can't read his first name. And it would have been in honor of Oda Kazuhiro Shi. And I can't read the letter. But we will dig into this. This is a cool, cool, cool thing. Someone's saying, is the black dot in the orange a mistake? This indeed looks like a blot or a blur. Let's have a look. It is chitty. There's a piece of crap in the paper. I'm not going to muck with this, says Dave, mucking with it. No, it's right in there. I thought it might have been a thing just on top. No, this is a defect in the paper. Dave is complaining about the paper. Says in the old days it was perfect. Well, in the old days it wasn't always perfect, whatever. So there's somebody under there. That's what I'm saying. This is a parody of the story. There's somebody down there. The kabuki story, there were 3 people in the scene, the woman and then the guy reading the letter, and the letter is down under the balcony, and under the balcony, under the veranda, is one of the evil, no, good guy, bad guy, good guy. I don't even remember who was the good guy, who was the bad guy. Yes. So they have really parodied this. And to them, when they passed this out in their group, they would all have got the joke, they would have understood the parody, they would have laughed and said, yay, good one, guy, thank you very much, really nice job, thank you, thank you, thank you, and away it would have gone. Anyway, there we go. Good. Nice one. And the book itself is full of, again, the match label stuff. These are the names of the guys in the group they put together. These are all treasure chest. It's kind of a mixed bag. This album is mixed. It's mostly, year-end Takarabune and New Year's card items, mostly. They were a club, they had good fun doing this, commissioning them and making plans for what to do, and then commissioning from woodblock workshops. It must have been a ton of fun. Or you could say these guys had too much free time, too much money, whatever, I don't know. But they had as their hobby doing this, commissioning these prints. And the result for us now is a ton of these beautiful little prints that are scattered all over the place. Anyway, okay, that's enough for now. As I said, I got to get going. I have a ton of things waiting for me to do, mainly dosa. I'm upstairs doing sizing today. Sizing. Okay, thanks for watching. We've run over time. Sorry about this. Next stream will be Monday morning my time, Sunday evening for most of you, and I'm not sure what I will be doing. I may be tracing on the iPad the face of those boys. If I got that done early, I will be carving the faces of the boys. I don't know. We'll be doing work, something like this, something related to this. So it's the same thing. Here we are. It's the same story. This is the Chushingura, the 47 Ronin. This is broken down into 24. This is number 8 of the set, and there's the original version of this, the kabuki story, the guy reading his letter, and the bad guy dude underneath the veranda. So it comes back, it goes around and around and around. They have these things, we have it too. You have an episode in a Shakespeare play that we all know the background of, and when we see it, we recognize it. And yeah, the same thing in Japan. Thanks for catching that. I didn't even know this. Thanks very much for catching that. Chocolate egg, who was that? Fly fish for fun, another guy with a roll. Okay. Okay. Okay, guys, thank you very much. I'm out of here. Work is waiting for me. Thanks for participating, hanging around. See you next time. Getting windy.